Well, welcome to Tribe Time. So we have a very special guest. My name's Bethany. For those of you that don't know me, I pretty much know all of you, I believe. But my name's Bethany, and I am the host for the month of December for Tribe Time. So for those of you that don't know, and this is your first time to Tribe Time, Miss Sybil Imel, wave your hands. Sybil started Tribe Time a couple years ago. She is a 5-star Golden Circle here in Arizona, and she is all about one team. So she brought us all together. There's probably 10 executives and lots of up and coming executives that we used to all meet every Tuesday from 11:30 to 1 in Arizona at my sister's clubhouse, and then COVID hit, and now we Zoom. But the most beautiful thing about Zoom is now we have people from all over the world joining us, and we're able to have special guests like our guest today, Dr. Lindsay Hoffbuhr. How many of you saw Dr. Lindsay speak on stage before? Awesome. So some of you are familiar. I don't think Michelle's even been able to make it to a live event yet, but
oh,
Michelle,
that's hard, Michelle.
I know, but she's a trooper. She shows up every week to Tribe Time. So I'm going to just read a little bit of her bio. So I love following Dr. Lindsay's stories because she's a mom to 2 adorable little girls, and they are just so cute. And she has a big dog named Bear. Love him as well. Corey is her husband. He's working beyond full-time as an anesthesiologist and COVID ICU doc. So imagine what his life is like right now. Sending him lots of love. She started Isogenics in the fall of 2014 just for the products, as many of us had, right? And then she caught the vision of the opportunity after just a couple of months. So by trade, she's an optometrist. And now she is Isogenics millionaire number 229. I'm 100 behind her.
Exactly. I love that when that was announced. That's the first thing I thought of.
I was like, oh my gosh, she's 100 before me. I mean, it blows my mind that we have so many ISO millionaires. There was one more thing I wanted to share. Oh, her official rank. So it's not important to her, but I just want you guys to hear it because I want you to hear the power behind it. So she's an 8-star Golden Circle. She's a platinum.
I'm not a platinum.
Not a platinum.
I've never opened my second business center.
So she's working on closing out that first business
center.
But she is an 11-star crystal executive. And what that means is that she has 11 people who she has personally sponsored that she has taken to executive themselves. So that is pretty amazing. So welcome, Dr. Lindsay Hoffbuhr.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Bethany. Guys, this is so special. What a special community you have right here. I love this. And I have to say that my heart misses our in-person Reno event so badly that at least we can still connect. But I can't wait in this new year for us to start being able to get together again. A huge part of my heart is in the Arizona, Phoenix area. We actually own a home in Scottsdale, and my very close brother and sister-in-law live about 5 miles from that home. And we rent it as an Airbnb. It's been such a beautiful experience. So we come to Phoenix as often as possible. And it's the one place I've been since COVID too, because we can road trip from here. But it's a special area, and I hope to see you all in real life in 2021 for sure. And Bethany, on that note about platinum, I will tell you guys in full transparency, my 8-star actual cycle weeks came from seasonal shake releases. So while I did hit that officially 4 times, back then you only needed to hit it twice to open a platinum center, it never made sense. Yeah. So in truth, if you want my real honesty, it should be 7-star rank. However, seasonal shakes weeks back in the day, a couple of years ago, were really big because they were very rare. And so you could reach higher cycles those weeks and really be blessed with additional residual income. And so I never want to be a poser. That's the truth behind that. And someday I will be a platinum. Every one of you will, and we'll keep working till we get there.
That's right. I love that. I love that attitude. And I love the transparency. Heather even says she loves the honesty because, you know, one thing Emily Vavra told me years ago when we were talking about maxing out is she said, even if like you're close, don't push for it to happen because you want that first business center. And maybe you can explain that to those that may not understand it. Yeah, let's go into that real quick. I know it's kind of jumping ahead, but
Well, it's this delicate balance, and this kind of goes in line also with spouses or significant others that hopefully are in your organization, and we can very talk transparently about that, because the degree to which my husband and I get to double dip, he's actually my top income earner on my team. He cycles between a 3 and 4 star level every week, and that all that business volume double dips and goes straight up to my business center. And there's a fine line. I started growing his organization way too late. I didn't have coaching on that. It just never came up. I believe there's a good time and a bad time to do that. And so if you imagine your significant other in your organization and picture the organization has 3 legs, you have your right and your left, and then your spouse has 1 leg they share with you, and then their independent leg. So that would make 3 legs. Does that make sense? And how cool is it, or would it be, if those 3 legs could grow at the same time, maximizing that residual income at the same time, right? So what I did is I started growing my husband's business center after years of being an associate in Isogenics. So he still kind of has, and it's not a bad thing, but he has a very full business volume leg. He's on my right. That's really irrelevant, but we're still trying to catch up with that inside leg. And I wish I would have started the process sooner. However, I've watched people start that process way too soon, and it's not been to their advantage. And that's the same thing with platinum centers. In your platinum center, you essentially are adding a 3rd leg. So you have your original right and left, and then that 3rd leg gets put on the outside and it connects to the top of your tree. So your original 2 sides of your business center, we'll say, becomes your left of your platinum together. So they're already blown out. Your business volume is already there, and you're just growing 1 side of your organization, which we'll call your right in this example. And so you need to have full capacity in that original business center before opening up a platinum. Because once you start your platinum business center, you're committing to enrollments there, you're committing to growth there, you're committing to try hard to become executive and get 10 consultants on that leg. And so if you do that too soon, then you're spread too thin. You're not maximizing your cycles over here. You're probably feeling pretty crummy about yourself for having spread yourself way too thin and starting this endeavor way too early. And that's just never something I wanted to do. Travis Garza was for those of you who know Travis Garza, he used to be with our company for a long time. He was a great advisor when it came to when you're ready to open your platinum center or not. And it's all based on that business volume that's flowing in that original business center. But the cool thing is, if you didn't know, you only build 1 leg in your platinum center. You're not building 2 again, you're building 1. So you can put all of your consultants there. Placement doesn't matter. And you only need 300 BV to have a full cycle, because the 600 BV is pulling from your original business center. So it's just another way our very generous company allows us to double dip. That's all that is, right? So yeah. It's the ultimate goal. Do I wish I was there by now? Absolutely. But I've been in Isogenics for 6.5 years now. I've had many leaders come and go, and I've had many leaders stop and restart. And it takes a tremendous amount of amazing customers and associates to get to 250 cycles a week after week. So that's the end goal for me. I hope it is for all of you, but there's so many beautiful steps and processes and money in between here and there, right? So does that help, or was that confusing? I don't want to confuse anybody.
No, I think it was great. I think there are a couple of questions. I know I have one, and then Blackbird asked one as well. My question was, when you're saying your hubby is cycling 30 to 40 times a week, or 30 to 60 between 3 and 6 star, or 3 and 4 star, you are personally enrolling all of these people. Your husband is just a consultant. Is that correct?
Well, this is a very good question. And there's different schools of thoughts, and I never want to step on any toes of what your team or mentors or advisors suggest. I did build Corey to Crystal Executive. So I did personally enroll customers by him probably 2 years into my Isogenics build. And Bethany, I did it during one of our crystal resets. Who has been around for a crystal reset? So we know what that is, where the clock starts over and you can cash in on all of those super generous bonuses. So I did that. I thought this is a great time. So Corey is actually one of my crystal executives. However, we do not maintain his rank as executive. It's hard to maintain 2 business centers at that. It's much more valuable for our primary business center. I've never lost executive for a single nanosecond in all of my 6 years. And actually, because of the timeline of when I started the products and when I started building and when my crystal reset date ended, I actually built to executive in only about 6 weeks. Because way back in the day, you started as an associate. There was no customer. When you bought those products, your clock started for all of those bonuses. And when I realized I wanted to do this, I didn't want to miss that $2,000 of bonuses between manager, director, and executive. So all of that to say, Bethany, I did build Corey to Crystal executive. Do I recommend doing that with your spouse? Not unless you have full intention or fully confident of keeping them at executive, because we know there's lots of benefits at maintaining the rank of executive. We have our lifestyle bonus, our monthly executive lifestyle bonus. Many of us have had amazing months in the executive leadership pools, right? There's brand new pool infrastructure coming in January, which is really exciting. So that rank is super valuable to me. But by building my husband's account to executive, I missed out on a couple what would have been very important trips to me. And because of the point infrastructure and different trips along the way, President's Quest, I missed by 1 slot. Some hard things happened to me earlier in my build because I switched gears and I focused on my husband's account and not mine. So for that reason, and because we've had so many incredible trips the past couple of years from Isogenics, Disney World, Peru, the one that just didn't happen, the Salt Lake City celebration trip.
Yeah.
Yes. So hard.
Yeah.
So
I don't know if you've heard, but Top Achievers is postponed till September. Fiji.
Correct. Which I'd rather be safe than sorry, because we need that to happen, right? So that's why I like to personally sponsor everybody. So I personally sponsor my customers and I place them on my husband's inside leg. And furthermore, my mom's inside leg, who's on my husband's inside leg. So my mom's actually my 4th highest income earner, and I've built her entire organization for her. So you can do some magical things with placement. Do not overlook that. It's never too late. I didn't start building my mom till a year ago, and I threw her on my tree. She finally started the product after like 4 years. And she is a school teacher by trade on a very fixed income. She's worked for the school district for 45 years. So there's no greater gift that I could have ever have given her than this real residual income. And I just built people. I enrolled my customers on her left, on her right, on her left, on her right. And then when I cashed her out and turned her into a consultant by using my twin brother and my aunt as her customers, she cycled 41 times. So you can imagine.
Woo-hoo! You gotta love that.
It was all just a surprise for her.
What a gift to be able to give your mom.
Yes. I get text messages from her every Monday.
Stephanie Blackbird has a question that she would love to ask you.
Yes.
All right. So this is, I love that you're talking about this because we were also building out my husband's inside leg. We had a great team in Puerto Rico and then everything kind of fell apart there with the hurricane, the warehouse closing. However, so this is more of, I guess, a personal thing. I feel so guilty doing that because the gal who has, who's responsible for a lot of my left team volume, she kind of stopped building. So her inside leg is doing incredibly well. It's the strongest volume on my team. And I'm not putting people down her team leg. I'm putting them down my husband's inside leg at that time. And I just had so much guilt about it. Like I would cry. I'm not kidding. Like this cycle should be going to that person, not to, oh, it's just weird. Did you ever experience that? Or what do I tell myself to get over that? Bethany's got an answer.
This is a very, very good question, Stephanie. And I'm glad you've asked because I've already lived through all of this turmoil. And the simple answer is this is your life, your organization, and your hard work. None of us walk into Isogenics expecting to have a handout, big or small, a handout of 1 customer, a handout of 50 customers. While my enrolling sponsor has placed a couple people below me, she switched gears as she should have when I started building because she didn't need business volume where I was anymore. And my personal leg, generates about twice the volume on a daily basis as my team leg. So I've never really had this massive team leg or massive inside leg. And some of y'all are on the inside of an inside of an inside, and you've created extraordinary things. So Bethany, so Stephanie, while I honor that care and concern, and I completely understand where you're at, because by doing what I'm doing, I'm not placing people under my second two biggest business builders anymore. So they're not getting that BV, because it's going somewhere else, but I'm also not responsible for building their organization or their livelihood. And I've contributed greatly to associates and customers below them in the years prior. So I want you to switch your gears and start thinking about all of the people that and customers you have placed below some of your business partners. And I also want to remind you that many people in Isogenics, many successful people, don't have a single human in their downline that isn't in their PET. They're personally enrolled tier. Okay. Yes. So I don't want you to take on that level of guilt. I want you to maximize your household income, because that's what's changing your life. You do not know that that business partner will still be a part of your organization 6 months from now, 1 year from now. You guys, the people I've given away over the years who don't even have sponsors still standing here anymore, it crushes your soul. So if you have a commitment to always be here and always take care of your customers, then I want you putting them where they maximize your life the most. Does that help?
Yes, thank you. And it also reminded me, she's not building either. So I'd be putting people on a leg where, you know what I mean? So it's, yeah. Okay,
thank you. That does help. As well.
Focus on your business and continue to support everybody, because you do a lot for her indirectly, right? Think of all of the contests, the promotions, the money, the trips, the gifts, all the things.
The free tickets to events, the accommodations.
All that you offer.
I pay it back in other ways. That was helpful. Yeah, for sure. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Stephanie, even the team builders coupons. I mean, you enroll 2 people, you get $60 worth of product. You enroll 5, you get an extra $150. I mean, that's a big little bonus. A big little bonus.
I know. And we don't talk about that enough, by the way.
Yeah, it really, I mean, yeah. And so when you're giving people away, you know, then you're kind of.
But even just placement wise, even if you're to personally sponsor.
Placement wise. Yeah.
It's whatever maximizes. And you all might treat your organization as having 3, 4, 5 legs. I truly treat my organization as if it has 4 legs, because I have my 2, my husband's inside and my mom's inside. So I do a lot of methodical left to right, left to right, left to right to keep my organization growing at the same time.
I'm doing the same thing right now, Lindsay. Yeah.
Perfect. And then there's very specific people where you're very mindful of where you're placing them, so they are financially tied to a common person of interest. I have my whole Reno team on one specific location because we all collaborate and work together, and that served me well. So, you know, you obviously, there's always some picking and choosing when it comes to that too. Or if we have a mutual person in common, we've both talked about Isogenics, they've decided to enroll with me, of course, I'll put them financially tied to. So yeah, we have the liberty to place people wherever we want in our downline. And sometimes that takes way too long to learn. So I try to teach that pretty quickly without being confusing. Once I have someone to a manager, that's the conversation we have. So they can really start thinking about the different various legacies that they want to grow for their family or their household.
That's great. I love that. So once it gets manager. So Lindsay, speaking of which, take me back to before you were manager. So Lindsay and I spoke together in San Francisco, as Jackie mentioned. That's where I met Jackie. Hi, Jackie. And I loved what she shared. So 6 weeks, it took you 6 weeks to get to executive. I did the same thing, just like you. I came in automatically, you know, I had already put my social in. I was like, oh, I don't want anything to do with this business. Why do you need my social, whatever. And then when I finally went to an event, it was like, okay, I'm getting to an executive. And it took me 6 weeks, but it was focused time. And I had 3 businesses. At the time, you were still an optometrist running your office. So talk about that and how you did it with your 30-30-30 plan, because I love that. And you guys, you want to take notes about this because it's gold. It's really, really good what you did.
Thank you. It's the simplest concept, but I will set the scene a little bit. So when I started the shakes, my daughters were 13 months and 3 years. So we know that infants and toddlers, all hands on deck. And my husband had just started his 2nd year of medical residency. We took a very non-traditional route. He served in the US Navy for 5 years before going back to residency. So generally when medical doctors are in residency, they're young, they don't have families, don't have wives, whatever, but we had a full-on family at that point, and I was working full-time. A couple of things to note about residency, medical residencies, they work all the time, 80 to 120 hours a week, and they make about $30,000 a year. So you're a single parent and you're the breadwinner if you're married to that ish. I don't recommend it, but we're still standing. So I had no business starting a business, like none. And I also had a lot of guilt attached to buying the product, with which, raise your hand if that was you in the beginning, because I just didn't feel like we had extra money to spare. We were spread very thin. I was seeing patients full time. I did not own my office, but I was running my office. And so I was early, 7 a.m. daycare drop off, 6 p.m. pickup in the dark, never saw my kids, had to do bedtime alone, the pumping, all of this. My maternity leaves were only 6 weeks long. So I had a lot of pain points around being a way too busy working mama. So I saw Isagenix as a vehicle to help alleviate some of that. And how I viewed it was, if I could make enough money to cut back 1 or 2 days a week in the office, how incredible would that be? That was my vision for this vehicle. And if that resonates with any of you, I never intended to leave my work full time. I thought I liked it until this became way more fun. But all of that busy schedule, and I know we're all busy, I'm preaching to the choir. I truly believe the busiest people are the most productive. And those are who you want to work with. And those are the humans you want on your team. Okay. And I don't like hearing complaints of being busy, but I like hearing when people are busy, because I know they're going to figure it out. They have a really good track record of creating a successful life while being busy. And I want them on my team. So I had to figure out how I was going to fit Isagenix into my busy days and how I was going to grow this thing. I'll set the scene also. I did not have Instagram. Very few people did. We were utilizing Facebook. We were doing the whole curiosity where you never said Isagenix, but you always talked about your shake and tried to get those inquiries. And we were doing a lot of phone calls. There wasn't Marco Polo. There wasn't voice text memos, voice messenger. So you were generally on the phone if you were talking to anybody. So I decided that if I came up with 30 minutes in the morning, 30 minutes midday, and 30 minutes in the evening, that would give me an hour and a half where every single workday I could still squeeze in my Isagenix time. Now, what do I mean by those 30 minutes? I made a commitment to get up 30 minutes earlier than I already was, so I could do mindful, methodical work before my kids woke up, before I had to get in the shower and get ready for the day. Iron my clothes. Ew, it was that kind of a career before my day started. 30 minutes uninterrupted. Do you guys know how much you can get done in 30 uninterrupted minutes? Isn't it remarkable? Like, do you amaze yourself sometimes? I just knocked out like 20 emails in the last 45 minutes before this call, and I feel so proud. And then I made a commitment that my lunch break would no longer be hanging out with the staff. I didn't need to go out and pick up my lunch anymore because I was having shakes, and I was not going to do patient charts. I was going to give me my lunch break, and that was going to be Isagenix time. Now, I had the good fortune of knowing when my lunch was every day. That's not everybody's story. You could be like my husband, who literally doesn't have a lunch break. I honor that, but try hard, because that was a predictable phone call time. I could always set up a customer call or potential prospect call for noon, and then squeeze in whatever 30 minutes I needed to. And then I just stayed up 30 minutes later in the evening. So that hour and a half became my sacred business building hour and a half. I still got enough sleep. If you ever get in a conversation with my husband and I about sleep, we will lay into you. Your human body needs at least 7 hours. Do not try to kid yourself out of it. You will take years off your life if you don't get 7 hours. So we never wanted to interrupt that sacred time, but I just became more efficient. We got rid of our cable. We no longer watch TV. In any free moment that I wasn't with my kids, I was working my business, but I always had an hour and a half. So I encourage you to figure out where that 30 could fit in your day. For some of you, you might be at home with little kids, and nap time is a beautiful window for you. Maybe some of you do sleep until 7 when you could get out of bed at 6 or 6:30, and then not getting lazy after putting the kids to bed. My children went to bed very early. We were big believers in the 6:30 bedtime when they were little. So I had plenty of time to work in the evening, but I always made sure I had at least 30 minutes. Bethany, I did not have a glamorous desk. I didn't have a home office. We lived in a very small home. My card table was in the corner of the master bedroom with a little tiny lamp I could keep on if my husband was sleeping. And that's how I built my organization to 6-star. At that point, we moved to Reno at that point, but it worked. And it was just a commitment to being really efficient. So then I always get the question, well, what did you do in those 30 chunks of minutes. And it was always follow-ups. You'll always hear Kathy Coover say the fortune is in the follow-ups. You guys, I still keep a handwritten list of my prospects. I don't have any fancy Excel spreadsheet. I just have a spiral notebook that is my Bible at any given time that has all of my notes and prospects in it. I keep very good notes of my prospects. I'm sorry, prospects is such a dirty word, but I'm using it with intention. Just like I did in patient care. So I write down how we're communicating. I write down about their life, their health goals, always their health goal or nutrition needs is always the first question I ask anyone who inquires about Isagenix. I write that down. I write down if they have kids, if they're a working person, if they exercise, all those initial questions, because my prospects anymore, and for a lot of you, are not people I know in real life. A lot of this information you might already know, especially if you're newer to Isagenix, you're still enrolling friends and family. But as you start to tap into your cold network, these questions are important. But what's more important is remembering the answers to those questions. So I would take notes in my patient charts. A lot of my patients I'd only see once or twice a year, but I want them to know there's only one of me. Of course they remember me, but there's thousands of them. So I would take notes. Cat named Bob, child's in 4th grade, they live in the central Portland area. And I would just take these notes that helped me individualize my relationship with them and my patient care with them. And I immediately started doing that same thing with my Isagenix prospect list, because I don't want to forget their health goals. I don't want to forget what they shared with me on a personal level. I don't want to spend 5 minutes checking all media platforms to figure out how the heck we were communicating. Like, we're over inundated. Is it Instagram DM, Facebook Messenger? Did you Zoom? Did you phone call? Are they email people? So that's all important stuff I take notes and keep track of. So got sidetracked. During the 30-30-30, it was follow-ups, it was phone calls, it was actually entering in enrollments, because that's what you did back in the day. We didn't have the recommended cart link. And it was checking in on my customers. So that is more than enough stuff to take up those 30 minutes. And I would argue those are the most important things we could be doing. Networking anew is very important as well. That type of incremental time doesn't give you a lot of time to network with new people. And we know that networking with new people during COVID has looked very different anyway. But that is something that I encourage you to spend one evening a week or one evening every 2 weeks doing something that is allowing you to meet new people. And that's pretty much where I draw the line with evening stuff. I didn't get into this industry to be gone every night. I like to be home with my family, but I've always made a commitment that at least once a week or once every 2 weeks, I could be out of this house with heels on, meeting new people. Now that looks a lot more like Zoom or socially distanced things, but I still think that's an important key to the equation. So Bethany, does that help a little bit? Am I missing anything on the 30-30-30 that you've heard?
No, it was great. Does anybody have any questions around it? I took lots of notes. Annie does. Go ahead, Annie.
Yeah, Lindsay. So my question is, are you in your business now utilizing the Penny app?
You guys want honesty? Because
I'm not. Honesty, please.
I should, honestly, I should be. And honestly, I'm not to the degree that I should be. And here's why. I hate learning new things. I hate technology. I've been in a focus group with Bethany working hard on LinkedIn, and my bandwidth with kids being home a lot and my husband never being home is learning one new thing at a time. So while I pay for the pro version and I absolutely utilize it to look at customer orders, I utilize it every time. Let me give you an example. Every time we have a new product release. So with our last release, we had our whole blend apple bars, which by the way are bomb. If you haven't had those yet, we had our brownie walnut snack bites, and then the caramel brulee shake. So I utilize the Penny app to look up every customer who ever purchased the salted caramel shake in years past, because that's very similar. And I sent them a very specific message about the product release. I utilize the Penny app to look at every customer who's ever bought the peanut butter snack bites. And I sent them a very specific product release email. And then I utilized the Penny app to look at everyone who's bought the whole blend peanut butter bar. And I send them a specific email. So I utilize the Penny app in individual ways like that. I don't use it on a daily basis with checkpoints where you can be notified 3, 5, 10 people to reach out and connect with. I have a lot of my team that does that with a lot of success. And I'm embarrassed to say I haven't yet, but I also think it's because I have enough on my plate. I'm constantly enrolling. So when my enrollments slow down and that becomes more of a need for my personal business, then Annie, you bet I will. But I'm a really bad example of that question right now. Sybil, you and Lindsay use it a lot, don't you, Lindsay Wanya? Yeah. So she's your go-to person for that. But that would be an amazing, I would have killed for that back in the beginning, because you don't even need 30 minutes to go through that list it's presenting you with every day. I mean, some of that stuff can just take but a couple minutes.
I'm definitely not the authority. I'm definitely more like you, but I do see some huge value in it. And I love that it trains itself just based on your algorithms of your contacts in your phone and so on. So I use it to that capacity.
I love that. And it also, on that note, thank you for saying that, Sybil, to have all of your contacts in one spot, like I merged everything in there right away, right when the Penny app came out, because I also have merged all of that. And this is just a good tip for you guys. All of your Facebook contacts, Instagram contacts, can be in your Penny app, but those are all contact information that I really encourage you to have on your own personal Excel sheet. If Instagram ever dissolves overnight or Facebook dissolves overnight, they own all of those connections. And unless you have those written or stored anywhere else, name, email, phone number, then you've lost a huge portion of your network or your potential or future business. So I actually just hired someone about 1.5 years ago to take all of my contacts from everything I have and pull into an own Excel sheet so that I have kind of ownership of that for forever. Does that make sense, you guys? Because honestly, 2020 has shown us that anything can happen. So while we do believe Facebook and Instagram are here for forever, you just never know. And those are relationships I've worked hard on, and I want to make sure I know who those people are. Does that make sense? So you can do that. You can funnel that all into the Penny app and then funnel that all out right on your own. So
awesome. Thank you. So let's shift gears. This is a question that just popped up from Jackie, and she just wants to know, where are you finding all of your new people that you're enrolling?
Very good question. So I utilize, and I can send you this training video, Bethany, and you can disperse it to everybody, because I did this early in COVID. Probably in April or May. I utilize social media, namely Instagram. I don't have Twitter. I do not have TikTok. I do not have, no, I just mainly Instagram and Facebook. I utilize that as a way of social networking. And I did a short Zoom on how I do that. And in short, I court or date people on Instagram. So I've taken a lot of one-off in-person connections that I've made over my time in Reno. We've been in Reno for 4 years now, and I joined some networking groups right away. The problem is with a lot of those networking groups is you meet people very quickly. You have maybe a short conversation, and if you never follow up or connect with that person, then that connection really did you no good. So I got very good at, when I'd meet people, having them find themselves on my Instagram, taking a secret screenshot of that, and then connecting with them that night via direct message. And I keep a list. I keep another handwritten list of all of my intentional prospects on Instagram. And I keep that list so that I can be mindful of my interactions with them. So instead of following up in real life, since that's hard to do right now, I follow up on Instagram. So these are people where Jackie, I like to visit their profiles on a regular basis. I try to not miss their posts. I like and comment on their posts. And most importantly, I watch their stories and I interact with them on their Instagram or Facebook stories. So creating that dialogue and that back and forth that you could do in real life, but doing it virtually. So I've built some very deep relationships by doing this on Instagram. And I commit, when I meet someone who I like, or I'm inspired by, or I think would really mold well in this business or in this company, I will court or date them for a year. I put no timestamp of anything shorter on that because it takes time for people to get to know you. But if you're active with them on Instagram, they're going to be seeing your content. They're going to start watching your stories. And if you have a presence on that platform, they're going to get to know you. So almost all of my customers, probably in the last 6 months, have been people from Instagram that there have been connections and growth and discussions with, but that I've actually never met in real life. Does that make sense? And so another way to do that, because I gave you the example of meeting someone maybe briefly in real life and then creating a relationship on Instagram, is finding people on Instagram and starting that relationship. So for example, you could go to hashtag, or excuse me, not hashtag, an account. I did this a couple of years ago. When I used to Orange Theory, I went to our Orange Theory Reno Instagram profile, and I clicked on the followers, and I went through their list of the people who follow the Orange Theory Reno page. And I started following people. I friend requested, and people that I liked their profile picture, if I could see their account, or maybe I had seen them in class before. And I just started creating these relationships, and goodness, at this point have enrolled half of that studio, because I became a presence in their Instagram without them really even knowing, but they're like-minded people and something that I love. So same thing with our school. My girls are in an amazing public school. They're in school. I think a lot of your kiddos are in school. They're in school here. And I connect with a lot of women in what we call Northwest Reno, like where we're zoned. And I look for people who follow the school Instagram account, and I send them messages or connections, or try, one reason or another to connect with them and start that dialogue. And then I add them to my list. But why I think it's important to add them to your list is because Instagram is messy and massive and huge. And if you're not intentional about being a viewer of theirs, then you'll never make anything of this kind of method, if you will. But the flip side to dating and courting and getting to know people on Instagram is you have to allow people to get to know you. So for those of you that I am connected with on Instagram, I do live my life out loud. It's done nothing but bless me. My kids are not at ages yet where they have requested to not be on my social media. My dog Bear is super well known by a lot of people. But I made a commitment to live my life out loud on Instagram and Facebook stories, because people do business with whom they know and trust. And right now, that is the only forum where I can allow people to get to know me. And when they get to know me, they feel okay reaching out and getting started with me for their health and their nutrition and their lifestyle. So most of my enrollments do come from Instagram. It is more of a long game, but it's fruitful. It is, I'm not, I wouldn't say any of us here are the typical influencers. I do not promote a single thing. I don't get paid for anything else. I am on that space to share things that I authentically love without being paid for it. And Isogenics and my family, that this is a lifestyle and this has blessed us hugely. So stay singularly focused on Instagram. You're going to get, and you may get messages, Beth, and you probably do. I get messages every day. Post this, be an ambassador for this, promo code this. None of that is relevant. None of that will change my life. And that would only complicate what I'm trying to do with Isogenics. So I stay very focused. And I just try to share what makes up my life so that people can get to know and trust me. So I hope you're doing the same, or I hope you're willing to start doing the same, because it's had huge, it's paid out beautifully for me in the form of many relationships and of course, customers and business partners. Does that help?
That was so well shared and so well said, because I think a lot of people think that getting on Facebook and Instagram is just, getting enrollments because it's a, special shake is out. So you let everybody know and everybody's going to buy it from you, but it's just not the way that it works.
Not at all, right? It's not quite the opposite.
Yeah, and aren't we finding the same thing with LinkedIn? I mean, our trainer for our LinkedIn course that we're taking, she basically says, it's going to take 6 months. It's going to take 6 months. Think about when you first started Facebook and Instagram. But now Lindsay has done this for so long, Jackie, that she has so many relationships. I call it a full pipeline, right?
Yes.
So her pipeline is full, and eventually people start reaching out to her. Mm-hmm. I want some of that. Can you share that with me? Oh, you have a challenge going on. I'd like to get in on that, And Jackie even says in the comments, she feels like she knows you from following you. I mean, I have people that I met in person that we've been Facebook friends for years. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
I know. And that's so special. And when you get a business partner and you get to meet an associate, the last real event we were at, New Year's kickoff last year, I had 4 business partners there I had never met in real life before, but we had to pause and think oh, no, this is like the first time, because we've been so vulnerable. So Jackie, be vulnerable. And this is my motto on social media. And while Instagram is more my focus, I'm 36. It's kind of an age group thing. Facebook is the OG. It will always be a big part of me. And again, to me, it's just double dipping. If you're going to post stories on Instagram, post the exact same stories on Facebook, because you probably have very different networks. And I do. I have very different networks between Facebook and Instagram. And they're both of great value. But people want to be inspired. People get on social media as an escape, as an outlet. They want to be inspired. Nobody wants politics. Nobody wants negativity. People want to laugh. They want the memes. They want recommendations. And so be all of that. So I try hard to be real while not being fake. And I try hard to show some of the hard stuff, but still spinning positivity or love and life on it. So for those that follow me, I've been through an extraordinary amount of back issues, procedures, pains, and surgeries this last year. And I try to show that to stay real, but I also share that from more of a positive standpoint, because if I really shared how I feel most days, no one would be following me. So it's just this delicate balance. I never want to be fake. I don't want to be someone, that perfect fashion blogger influencer that you unfollow because every day when you see her pop up, you feel like crap about your own life. I don't want to be that person. I want to be relatable. And so again, you just really think about, I guess you could call it your avatar, really think about what you want to attract and what you would be attracted to. I love dogs. That's why I share so much about Bear. He has brought the most amazing people into my life. My back journey has brought the most amazing people into my life, and not all customers, but people who have blessed my life and I've been able to help them. So it's just this constant exchange of value, adding value, getting value, adding value, and you'll learn what works. If you're, kind of rhythmically posting about any one thing and nobody responds or nobody whatever, then don't do that anymore. Do something different. So stories give you so much grace. They disappear in 24 hours. Like you can't screw up that bad. But what you have to know about stories is it's a choice. People are choosing to watch your stories. They're clicking on that bubble. They're staying put long enough to see what you have going on in your day. They're choosing you. The news feed is completely arbitrary. You don't know who's going to pop up on your news feed, who's not, how long someone's going to scroll for. It's permanently there in space. If you're too salesy, someone 2 months down the line is going to find that out about you. But stories, you can be unapologetic on your stories. People are choosing to be there. If they don't want to see your products, they're not watching your stories. There's a reason why you can have 500 followers and only 60 watch your stories. It doesn't matter how many, those 60 are your people. They know you, they love you, they want to keep knowing you, they want to see what in the heck you're up to that day. They want to see your kids, they want to see your dog, they want to see your dirty office. Those are your people. So I focus my energy completely on my stories. I don't care what's about posts. I do that to stay consistent. And by consistent, I mean like every 3 or 4 days. Who remembers that you have to post every day time? Because that was stressful. Do any of you still feel like you need to post every day because you don't and people are sick of you? Seriously, find a new rhythm of every other day or every 3 to 4 days. Enough to stay relevant in your feed. Your people are the people watching your stories. They're the curious ones. I still have people, the first 5 people to watch any of my stories I post on any given day still haven't joined Isagenix yet, but they're watching every one of my freaking stories. Do you think they're curious much? Like, those are where you want to focus your energies. And that's why I'm so passionate about stories. So I will put way more business time into my story content than I ever will my post content at this point in time. Is that going to change again in the future, just like it did a year ago? You bet. But that's the secret spot. And getting your face in those stories, getting still images in those stories, posting your challenges in your stories. My 3-4 enrollments last week were all because we're doing a specific 10-day challenge right now. And turns out someone I enrolled was a prospect of 2 other people on my team. And I had no idea. I even asked this girl point blank, like I asked everybody, if you want to be a good leader, always ask your prospects who reach out to you if they have heard of Isagenix before, and if so, who? Because you never want to step on any toes. I don't. So this specific customer, I even asked her, Have you heard of Isagenix before? Have you tried Isagenix before? She said, I have, but it's someone who's just a customer. She doesn't sell it. And I said, okay. She said, I want to enroll with you. Well, after I enrolled her and welcomed her to the team page, she was 2 people's prospects. But you guys, she came to me because I talk about it. I'm consistent and I shared the challenge, and she wanted to start in the challenge. Okay. So don't be the one that lets those customers get away either. And my 2 wonderful teammates who had worked on her in years past, turns out, both said to me independently, I know why she enrolled with you, because you're consistent. So if that's the other secret sauce, maybe. But I unapologetically share in stories because people are choosing to be there, and it's going to be gone 24 hours later. Repeat stories, repeat images. I use Canva for everything on stories because it's beautiful, it's professional. And after you learn it, it doesn't take very long. So think of storylines you can do, storylines about your challenge, 3, 4, 5 stories, storylines about our immunity products, storylines about BIA. Now more than ever, corporate provides us all of that. Have you guys seen the collagen elixir ones? I'm like, I didn't even have to make any content for that. It was already ready. So utilize what's done for you that's free and saving you time. I see way too many people not do that when it comes to social media. And anything you ever see on my page, you are more than welcome to screenshot that send me a text, ask for better image qualities. I am not weird like that. Like if I can save anybody time and there's some images you like, just holler. I sincerely mean that. Sorry, got on a really big tangent there. Sorry.
Sybil's saying she screenshots your stuff. I do as well. I screenshot.
Perfect, dude. Absolutely. But if you want better quality, just text me. I'll send them to you. I post them all on my team pages, but I am not creative. Ideation is my 34th strength, and I like the color gray. Okay, like you don't have to be a creative person to be able to use Canva. I guess is my point.
That's so funny. Okay, so we have like 10 minutes left. So with that being said, 10 minutes, how can we maximize having this beautiful soul here right now that's sharing so many goods with us? And I love just, Lindsay and I didn't plan anything. I said, let's just kind of banter back and forth and we'll see what happens. And I know you'll bring it. So I hope you guys have enjoyed that. Does anybody have like a burning desire question that they want to ask Lindsay? I could open it up, or I can ask her what her favorite thing is to talk about. I don't see anybody unmuting or raising their hands.
Let me look through the chat box. Did I miss anything in the chat box?
I've been keeping an eye on there.
So bad at chat box.
Debbie Hammond says she loves listening to you.
Thank you.
I do too. She speaks so fluently. I love it.
Yes, Jackie, you can join me. Hey, if any of you want to be on my team business page, just message me on Facebook. It's anyone's welcome in there. Nothing is secret. So yes, Jackie, you can. I have a really loud voice and I talk really fast, so I annoy most people. So God bless you all who are willing to. My old boss, when I quit full-time for Isagenix, she was a horrible human. She would bang on the exam room next to me if I was talking too loud to my patients. She would just bang on right in the middle of an exam. I'm like, I have a hard of hearing patient in my chair. You bet I'm screaming.
Oh my gosh.
I realized in 2020 pandemic mask wear that having a loud voice is to your advantage.
Yes, it is. Well, I wouldn't say that your voice is loud or annoying. It's just very articulate, just like Sybil just said in the chat. So I don't see any questions in the chat. Oh, Stephanie's raising.
Stephanie,
I just thought of one because I was looking for you on Facebook to message you. So you are loud and proud Isagenix. And I think a lot of brand new people see leaders being loud and proud about Isagenix and having Isagenix on their profile. And we kind of advise them, not that whole totally weird, creepy, secretive stuff, but when they're brand new and they post Isagenix, everyone goes to Google instead of to them, like that whole thing. So how do we explain that to people? Because I have people who've basically blatantly said, well, so-and-so's doing it and so-and-so's doing it. Okay, well, they're a whatever million-star platinum, but okay. So what do you tell your new people?
Stephanie, this is a great question because to me, where you are in your journey very much dictates how you can best handle how you share. And I do sincerely, I mean, we kept that level of curiosity and didn't say ice. I remember vividly the first time I said Isagenix on a post, and I was debilitated by it. And it was probably 2.5 years into my Isagenix journey. Again, everything, the world has shifted. I can't compare everyone's start now to what the world looked like 6 years ago. I mean, network marketing was so much more mum back then anyway, and there weren't many people doing it. So there's a couple of thought processes that go through my mind. You have to make sure and let your associates know how easy it is to go to Google, how easy it is to go to YouTube and find resources. And I like my potential anything to use my resources. So I try to arm my new associates with that notion. So I have templates for everything. I'm a big template person. I think if you can cut and paste and duplicate yourself, you can do this in 5 minutes a day. So I have a template that's my initial response. So when someone inquires about Isagenix, I send them this quick initial response. And in it, I say, I would love to provide you with the best resource to start learning and finding out more about Isagenix. And I send isagenixhealth.net. So however someone wants to share, they have to be able to promptly share a resource that's reputable that you're sending your customer to rather than Google. So associate education on that, number one, is really important. I do think there's power in creating curiosity for a few weeks, even up to a few months when it comes to someone brand new. You know, the old, I'm starting a new program, I'm starting nutritional cleansing, I'm doing this, these are my goals, and I'd love if any of you want to do it with me to do it with me. Isagenix itself has no business being in that initial post, right? You can see how leaving an open slate is going to have them get questions in their inbox, and that's what we want. So really just think about the state of affairs. Who's the person? Have they done a company before? Do they even have a network they're sharing to or not? You guys, we start many people who don't have a network or followers, so to speak, and they're going to have to work a lot harder on those one-on-one conversations. But I do think it's a value to keep secretly for the initial posts or the beginning of their journey. But there comes a point pretty rapidly where people get annoyed that you're being secretive about it, because they can just go in, they can go find their next Arbonne is my biggest competitor. They can find their Arbonne associate. They can go get Vega from Costco. Yeah, that stuff's terrible. They can just walk, you know, they can go to GNC, still a thing. So you don't want to be off-putting. That's to me why there's a delicate balance. What do you guys do? Sybil, what do you do? Bethany, what do you recommend when it comes to that? Because I think that's a very good question, and I don't have a black and white
answer. Definitely is a delicate balance. I'll let Sybil share.
Yeah. Well, I think at the very beginning, it was really hard to just hear from the leaders that had gone before me, don't post Isagenix. But then once they explained why not, and the whole, you know, Amazon, buying it on Amazon and so on. But then I think as time went by, I liked being known as the shake girl or the Isagenix girl. And sometimes you just couldn't avoid it. Corporate will tag you in things. If you're photographed with a backdrop of Isagenix, you can't really avoid it. But I do think that if you have provided value in your feed so that people understand that there's coaching that goes along with the shake and that you are going to be that coach, you've got to instill that on somehow, that you are a well-being coach, you know, and you'll provide that to them. So at the very beginning, you're just not known as that. And no matter what you do, you just don't want to post about it until you really feel that you've kind of established yourself. That's
beautiful. So, and that's great advice, and showcasing the value of, I get to help you if you start with me. You know, you don't get help if you're on Amazon. And that's really just a lot of use of words, maybe imaging, discussions in your stories about why you love doing this, that you love helping people, and that you would love to help them. I'm always saying that on repeat. So Sybil, that's very true. Just differentiating yourself from Amazon or from whatever protein they can get at the store.
Yeah. And I do educate them on that and why, where I don't just say, don't do this. I always say why. But when they say, yeah, but this leader and this leader and this leader does it.
Yeah.
It's kind of almost like they're a higher, you know, they're at a higher level than you. Mm-hmm. So,
well, and that would be my response. And look, Tara just said here 3 years in, and I still don't, the reason why I think it was 2.5 years is, Tara, that I did, because I remember the post and I was coming up on Isagenix Millionaire and I knew that I'd want to share that at the time. But Stephanie, I would just say back in the beginning, all of those leaders absolutely led with curiosity. And in fact, a lot longer than we do now because the times were so different. And I would just take it in a step. Like step one is let's do this, even if it's only for a couple weeks. Step two, but eventually, and I'm sure Sybil and Bethany feel the same way. I'm just so dang proud of Isagenix. I couldn't not, how could I not? You know, and I love tagging them in things and sharing their imagery and all of that, that it's just too hard to keep secret for very long, but just reminding them that they're at a very different point in their business than a new associate. I guess
that makes me think that after 15 years, maybe I should fess up and I still don't. And but I have to have the confidence that the people who want to connect with me and buy from me and join with me will join with me. And if they don't, they'll join somewhere else. And me being hush hush about it isn't going to help that situation at all. So
that's so true, Steph.
People want honesty.
Yeah, I mean, they may not even know, right? So especially, so do you share it all in your stories?
Sorry?
Do you share it all in your stories about Isagenix?
I have a little bit, but still with the, you know, like my finger will be over the Isagenix or something, like still very,
so,
you know.
I definitely am, I'm more freely to share in my stories than I am on my page. On my page, yes, Isagenix is there, but here and there. It's not all Isagenix, but it's kind of sprinkled throughout, if you will. But through my stories, it's, you know, you can get the naked green juice or you can get the Isagenix greens, you know. I mean, I really, I put Isagenix out there on my stories for sure.
You know, I could almost do something where we're so close to 2021, like I'm launching my new business, because I asked on my profile, what do you think I do? I asked, and it was unbelievable. I think one person said weight loss shakes, and everyone else, it was from you make the sunshine in the morning to whatever, like, but nobody knew what the heck I do.
People know, Stephanie.
I know.
Seriously.
Out there. Good. So Lindsay, we just have 2 minutes left. I actually have a LinkedIn prospect call at 12:30. So
cool.
Yeah, I'm very excited. So I just want to close us out with what is just probably the best advice that you could give yourself kind of looking back, right? Or what would be that thing that you're like, I just wish I would have known that back then?
Crap. Well, this kind of goes in line with me saying how I don't like learning new things and I haven't jumped on the total bandwagon with the Penny app, but I wish I would have been adaptable and been willing to learn new things sooner. So for example, I didn't start stories for probably 6 or 8 months when Instagram stories became a thing. Then I did Instagram stories, but I was like, nobody's going to watch Facebook stories. I get a lot of enrollments from Facebook stories now. You know, this whole world has gone to TikTok and Reels. And I actually paid for just a really inexpensive workshop on how to do Reels yesterday, because I was like, I'm not going to do Reels. I don't want to learn something new. Look at how many people are having success with Instagram Reels. So it's kind of that reminding, like, we are capable of learning new things. This industry is constantly changing and adapting. And if you're not adapting with it, you're getting completely left behind. So I need to give myself my own advice when it comes to the Penny app. So thanks for pointing that out, team. But does that make sense? If you're not in stories, get in them. If you haven't thought about Reels yet, let's learn them together.
It's funny, I thought about Reels and I'm like, no.
I know. Kelly Deckerhoof has massive success with what she does.
Oh my gosh. She like covers my feed with her Reels. Like my feed is her Reels. Yeah.
Totally.
And I did the same exact thing with stories. I didn't get into stories for so long.
It took so long. And now, like I said, it's my heartbeat. So yeah, maybe it's not being stubborn and just learning new things sooner, because we can, we're adaptable.
Yes, that's right. Hey, let's all take a group photo real quick. For those of you that have your cameras off, if you want to turn them on and just give us a quick little smile, that would be awesome. And I'm going to do a countdown. 3, 2, 1. All right, I got us.
Thank you,
Lindsay, thank you so much. You guys want to unmute everybody and just give your love to Lindsay. Thank you so much.
I'm proud of all of you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Lindsay.
Thank you, Lindsay.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. Happy Tuesday.
Bye.